All right, man, peace. You know, brothers, I harp on this all the time on this channel, and it's a consistent theme on this channel. That being self-awareness. We have to know exactly where we are in relation to what is going on around us and how what we do affects what is going on around us, as well as what is going on around us and how it affects us. That is how we're going to be able to optimize exactly what our role is and make sure that everything remains as functional as it is supposed to be. Why am I bringing all of this up? Because it's becoming more and more apparent that one of the main reasons why Draymond Green is not traveling with the Golden State Warriors, at least to me, is because Golden State is trying to separate Draymond from the rest of the team to see if the overall energy within the locker room improves. And it seems as if Kevin Durant has started to come out of his doldrums. And it also seems as if now that Steph Curry's coming back, I'm starting to wonder if they're going to bring Draymond Green back because they believe that Steph Curry is the only force in the locker room whose positivity can nullify Draymond Green's love and lust really for chaos. As we all know, about 2 weeks ago, Draymond Green and Kevin Durant had a huge explosion near the end of regulation in their very pivotal matchup against the LA Clippers. Why do I call it pivotal? Because the Clippers, as of right now, do have the best record in the Western Conference. I don't expect that to last for much longer, but as of right now, they do. Draymond Green seemed to have been set off by a conversation that he noticed Kevin Durant was having with the multi-billionaire owner of the Clippers, that being Mr. Steve Ballmer. Brothers, once again, even if you're hyper-perceptive and you have a higher degree of insight than those around you, it's not necessary for you to divulge everything that you think, because sometimes your thoughts can be so powerful that it can cause a disintegration in a relationship that you need to maintain for that moment. You don't have to say everything that you think or that you know, even if it's the truth. Timing is key. Timing is key. And once again, because Draymond Green has very little control over his mouth, it may cost him his position on the Warriors. Because once again, I'm noticing that he does not appear to be traveling with the team, and it would not surprise me if the Warriors are shopping him heavily. So that brings us to Mr. Kevin Durant, who once again is balling right now. He's playing better offense than anybody in the NBA by far. It's not even a close second. And is there a correlation between Draymond not being around the team, or maybe many of the quote-unquote methodologies that he likes to use to incite his teammates being marginalized? Maybe he's spoken to the GM of the Warriors. I believe his name is Bob Myers. Or maybe he's spoken with Steve Kerr and they've told him that he has to tone it down. And they maybe also put him on timeout just to see if that's going to have an effect on Kevin Durant. Who knows what's going on right now with the Warriors, but it's very apparent that Kevin Durant is playing much better. So anyway, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
Here with your Sports Center right now, I'm Trevor Scales. 49 points, a comeback win over the Magic with no Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant is still talking about he, quote, tricked off a 50-piece. For those wondering, that just means KD felt like he was inefficient. But it still looked good in the box score. Warriors were down 17 points at the half, their largest deficit at the half this season. Third quarter, Durant pull-up game strong. He would have 16 in the third, and the Warriors would trail by 4 after 3.
Let me say this. The Orlando Magic are a team that has impressed me thus far this year. I'm not quite sure what their record is, but every time I've seen them play, they're playing very hard, and they have a very good roster, very talented roster.
In the fourth, it's Kevin Durant getting it done on defense, skying high for the block on Nikola Vucevic. Now, it might have been goaltending, it might not have been. We ain't got to talk about that there. We're going to move on to under 30 seconds to play. This man is an assassin, knocks down the 3-ball, 49 points, 9 assists, 2 blocks, 2 steals.
When I see Durant playing like this, it really only starts to cement in my mind that he's going to lead Golden State, because he appears to be ready to be his own man. He appears to be ready to assume the functionality of a quote-unquote alpha. Now, I'm on record as stating that thus far, I believe that Kevin Durant is arguably the greatest beta in the history of the NBA. Meaning what? He's not somebody who wants to be burdened with the task of being a leader on an NBA team. But how he's played in the last few games is starting to show me that he's almost like a kid in high school who's ready to move out of the house. So it would not shock me at all if Durant leaves the Warriors. And for him to come back, they're really going to have to throw everything that he wants at him, including, of course, being a supermax player or max player, whatever he's eligible for, as well as trading away from the team whoever he wants gone.
KD talked about the mentality post-game.
My foot on the gas, I'm trying to get the money, trying to score, especially when we're down that many points and we can't generate enough offense to it.
Tonight was
Kevin Durant's one of the most naturally gifted scorers I've ever seen. He's right there with Jordan, Kobe, all of them. And in regards to his ability to put up big numbers as well as be proficient, he's right there with Jordan. As a matter of fact, over the last 30 years, he's probably the best natural scorer other than Michael Jordan in regards to efficiency and proficiency that I've seen. Because, I mean, of course, you have guys like Iverson and Kobe, but for the most part, they were sub 50% shooters from the field. They normally hovered anywhere around 43 to 46%. Kobe at his best was around a 46% shooter. Iverson around the same, 45, 46% before his career. I think Iverson was somewhere around the low 40s. Iverson was not a very efficient scorer. But of course, he was super talented, and when he got in the zone, he could score with anybody. But in regards to overall proficiency and efficiency, the two best scorers that I've seen since I've been watching basketball are Jordan and then Kevin Durant.
Was one of the best games of the year. You could feel the energy in the crowd. You could feel the competitive desire from our players. You could also feel it from the guys on the bench. Just huge energy. We've moved on from that stuff.
Let's get you back over to First Take.
Trevor, appreciate you. KD dropping buckets. 49 points, 9 assists, 93 points over his last two games, most in a two-game span in his career. Golden State on a three-game.
That's the thing about KD, too. That's why I call him the second best scorer that I've ever seen, because he doesn't detonate like a Kobe Bryant, meaning what? KD's not going to have a game where he gets 70 or 80. That's not really his style, because he's always going to play within the flow of the game. That's what makes him so proficient and efficient. He's going to get you 45, 50 points, and he's going to shoot 60%. Kobe will have a game where he gets 81 and he shoots 60% for that game. But he's also going to have a bunch of games where he shoots 40%. So KD's a lot like Jordan that way. Jordan will have a lot of games like that, scoring mid-40s, high 40s, low 50s. But he was going to shoot 65, 70%. Jordan had games where he shot 75% from the field for the game. So that's why I liken KD's scoring unto Jordan. They're not as explosive as a Kobe Bryant, but when it comes to overall consistency and what they're bringing to the table on the offensive end, those are the two best players that I've seen since I've been watching basketball.
Three-game win streak. Stephen A., the drama over?
Yeah, I think it's over. And I think it's over because the bottom line is the objective is to win a championship and to put yourself in the best position to get the max dollars you obviously richly deserve and will undoubtedly get.
And beyond that, they've given a stern talking to Mr. Draymond Green. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
I'm going to repeat what I've religiously stated. Kevin Durant is one of the top 3 or 4 players on the planet Earth. I say top 2. He's that surreal.
Well, let me say this. To be quite frank with you, it's becoming more and more apparent to me that Durant's probably the best player in the world right now. He's probably the best player in the world. It's so close, though. It's very difficult. You can make compelling arguments for multiple players. So I can see why Stephen A. Smith vacillates when it comes to KD between 2 and 5 or what have you. Because you really can make a compelling argument for LeBron James. You can make an argument for KD, of course. You can make an argument for Steph Curry. You can make an argument for Kawhi Leonard. Look at the effect that Kawhi Leonard has had on the Toronto Raptors. Does anybody think, even if LeBron was still in the East, that the Toronto Raptors would get swept by the Cleveland Cavaliers again? No way in hell.
And one of the things that if there has been an impediment to his game, I'm not talking about anything else, Max. I'm just talking about to his game on the court. And I once told him this, is his lack of aggression. He is the kind of person that, like Larry Brown, would love Kevin Durant. First of all, he's efficient. He's a shot maker. Right now, he's averaging 29 on 50% shooting. 29 on 50% shooting. And it's actually a down year to some degree because he only shoots 32% from.
Exactly. He's gotten off to a slow start. And he's averaging 29 a game on 50% from the field. Go look up Kevin Durant's stats year by year. Look at how many seasons he shot 50% from the field or over as a member of the Oklahoma City Thunder, where they basically ran a playground offense. They were not running actual plays to get him open and to maximize or optimize his ability to score with proficiency. They were just giving him the ball on the wing and say, Kev, go 1-on-1 or go 1-on-2. And he was still shooting 50% from the field or more multiple times as a member of the OKC Thunder. In Golden State, the way that they run their sets, it's going to be very difficult for Kevin Durant to shoot less than 54%.
For 3-point range. This is what he's doing. 29 points per game, 50% shooting, only 32%
He ain't gonna end the year at 32%
from threes, and we know it's only going to go up. So what is the issue with Kevin Durant, the career 27-point per game scorer? It's an absence of assertiveness. Even though I'm the best player, I'm going to defer to the alpha dog that is Russell Westbrook when I'm in Oklahoma, because you know what? That makes life easier for me, even though he wasn't happy about it. Then you go to Golden State. Obviously, Steph Curry.
Right, but Steve, did he really defer to Russell Westbrook? Or did they clash over it, whether it be KD and Russ or KD and the coaching staff, and KD just did not want to go publicly about it because he did not want to hurt the team or cause dissension within the team?
Curry is the man. We get all of that because he's the greatest shooter that we've ever seen. But Kevin Durant is one of the greatest players we have ever seen. And
well, Steph Curry is also one of the greatest players that we've ever seen as well, Stephen A. Smith. Now, Kevin Durant brings more to the table overall because of his height and things of that nature. But Steph Curry's impact is right there with KD's, if not greater. Because Steph Curry has changed the overall paradigm in regards to how players approach the game on the offensive end. And the fact of the matter is that KD had to come to Golden State to truly understand the ins and outs and idiosyncrasies of playing real winning basketball.
And the reality is, the last 3 games, since they won in that 4-game losing streak, they've won 3 straight against Portland, against Sacramento, now against Orlando. By the way, he had 44 Saturday, and then he has 49 last night. That other game that, you know what, he just won and ended their losing streak, well, he only had 32 points that game. Just 32 points. And I mean, what happened to him? He just had 32 points that game. Shoot 61% from the field one game, 50% another, 40% another. He's not just a superstar in terms of numbers. He's a superstar in terms of efficiency. You've got a guy like Larry Brown who would love him because he thinks about playing the right.
Who gives a shit about Larry Brown? Why do you keep bringing up Larry Brown for? Larry Brown is the coach who has won in more places, but has never won the big one in more places. I mean, he's something else. Larry Brown is like that chick that aspires to be a great woman and a wife, but she really just can't get there. She hopes the best for herself, and she's able to seduce various men into believing that she's sincere about it. But when the going gets tough, she backslides back into her silly bullshit and runs off, never to be seen again until she pops up in another city somewhere. That's Larry Brown. That's why he's been to so many different stops. Indiana and San Antonio and Detroit and Philadelphia, all these places, and so many cities, so many teams. He's brought them into significance in regards to being a playoff contender. But it was only one team, Detroit, that he was able to win. And it seemed like he did not deal with success very well because he had to run out of there also.
The right way all the time.
That's really why he wanted to go to Golden State, too, by the way.
Without question. Without question. He once told me that. That's absolutely true.
They play the way you're supposed to play.
They play the way they're supposed to play, and he loves playing in their system. The point that I'm making is this, though. Particularly in moments like this, not just because of Draymond, but because Steph Curry is out. Combined with your beef with Draymond at the time, combined with us talking about you being one of those elite players, and you approaching free agency, you have every excuse under the sun to remind the world, excuse me, I'm a bad brother. Make no mistake about it.
Let me say this very quickly. There's going to come a point in Golden State's negotiations with KD and his team where they're going to sit KD down and they're going to ask him what he wants. And he's going to speak in code. He's going to say, look, all I want to do is hoop. I don't want any drama. I don't want any static. I don't want any blow-ups. And they're going to read that appropriately as you have to trade Draymond Green.
That is what he has done over the last few games. I believe the drama's over because the bottom line is there about winning.
No, the drama's over in the same way that the argument has ended when you're in a toxic relationship, but there's another one on the horizon because people's natures don't change. You understand that? What you and that other person may have had an argument about, that might be old news. But the nature that that person has is never going to change. It's not going to be old news. And maybe it's just your energy and their energy that's always going to lead to a combustion. But it's always going to be bubbling under the surface.
Winning the championship, and he's just going to decide to leave in the offseason if that's what he chooses to do.
The drama is not over.
Okay.
Thank you, Max Kellerman. I agree with you, sir.
Okay.
Let me start by saying,
sure,
KD, the way he said, I'm trying to get that money.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's not talking about his contract. We're talking about the contract. He's talking about points.
Yeah.
Right? He's trying to score. We have seen him develop. I bring this up almost every time his name comes up. from a kid to a man. You know, when these 19-year-old kids come up, I'm a grown man, like, that means they're not a grown man.
Yeah.
19 years old, you're a kid. And so we saw that. His lack of assertiveness at times, you could say it's part of his personality, but also...
It was.
Yeah, I get it. But it's also that he was a kid when we first got to know him.
And also he was raised in a household with all that feminine energy. So it's taken him a long period of time to attempt to get in touch with that masculine persona that he's going to need to lead other men. Also, his dossier is getting so large and established right now that he's put himself in the position, especially if they're able to win the championship again this season, that wherever he goes, he can walk into a locker room and the other players there will follow him, especially if he's able to emit an energy of authoritativeness, which is what he's going to have to do.
And so we didn't really get to know the real him. He is a man now. He's 30 years old. He is asserting himself like an adult. And I also like the kind of more aggressive tone that he's using. It tells you he's feeling himself and really coming into his own.
Yes, I sense a surety of mind with KD, especially the last year and a half or so.
The drama's not over. Remember?
Max Kellerman talks like a dude who grew up around hood dudes. Like, this shit ain't over. Right now, they just chilling right now, but it's not over. It's like that movie, The War of Roses, with Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner, where, you know, every once in a while they would have, you know, an armistice, but, you know, it was just a prelude to the next battle.
Playing musical chairs as a kid. Ever
Yeah.
played musical chairs at a birthday party in McDonald's basement or something like that, right?
I've done that.
It's fun when you're playing. It's fun watching these guys play. They may or may not be having fun right now, but at different times I'm sure they do. But is there drama? Oh, there's drama the whole time. Because there is one less seat than what you need. Someone, when the music stops, not going to have a seat. KD's a free agent. Clay's going to be a free agent. Draymond the following season. Are they going to keep everybody? I mean, do they think that KD, the priority is keeping KD? Do you think he wants?
Let me say this very quickly, because Max Kellerman is bringing up some very compelling points. Let me say this very quickly when he uses the analogy of the musical chairs. Just metaphorically speaking, when we take inventory of our lives, we have to look at the people in our lives as representing that game of musical chairs, where they're going around and around in a circle around a group of chairs, and there's one less chair than the amount of people there to sit in them. So we have to ask ourselves, is this female that I'm talking to, is she worth remaining in my life? These co-workers at this job that I'm working at, are they there to benefit me and assist me and try to help me in building up my understanding of what I'm doing? Or should I leave this job because they're not there to help me? They're there to be a negative force in my life. Certain family members, do they reach out to me, and am I reaching out to them to assist them and build them up and them try to build me up? Or are they trying to blame me for their shortcomings? Or am I acting as a deleterious aspect in their life and I have to improve myself? These are all things that the Golden State Warriors are going to have to come to terms with, because Max Kellerman is making some very cogent points. And it's not just going to come down to the money, because believe me, if Draymond has his druthers, he'll take less than the max to stay on this team. There's no doubt about it, because I think that even he has the self-awareness to understand that what he brings to the table will not translate to every team across the NBA. It just won't. But that is why he's going to have to make sure that he flies right. And I'm just not sure that he's going to be able to redeem himself in the eyes of Kevin Durant and the Golden State Warriors in the necessary amount of time that it's going to take to convince them that he's going to walk a straight line. I just don't believe that. So I think that at the end of the day, he's going to be the one who'll be left out there. Now, I'm on record as stating that if it was up to me, I might look to trade KD first before I trade Draymond, because I know what I can get with Draymond. And I think that if you were to package a KD and try to get a Tobias Harris or somebody along those lines in return, you know, it might be more difficult now, because it seems like every game Tobias Harris' stock is going up and up and up and up. But I just think that this situation right now is very tenuous. And the Golden State Warriors, they are going to have to monitor it. I believe that if they could have, they would have traded Draymond Green already. But there are probably not as many takers as one might assume.
Wants to stay if Draymond is there. when the music stops, one of those four guys, at least, ain't going to have a seat at the game, right? One of those four. That means there is drama for the rest of this season.
Well, let me respond to that. Number one, I'm alluding to this season, meaning you have a job to finish, and that's three-peated. I specifically said this summer everything will be open, the floodgates will open because of all of those things you mentioned. I was alluding to this season. That's number one. Number two, the Golden State Warriors, accurate or not, Max, I'm reporting here, has given the players every impression we gonna take care of all of y'all because they printing money. I'm talking about, I know cats that got season tickets for years to the Warriors games that it cost them $140,000 to sit near courtside. Now when they knew that they moved in the new stadium, I was told that the price is going up to nearly $600, more like $550, okay? From 160, 140 rather, to $550. These guys are printing money, so they've given the impression we can take care of all of y'all because we're willing to entertain that luxury tax. Klay Thompson doesn't believe he's going to have to go anywhere. Kevin Durant doesn't believe he's going to have to go anywhere. He knows it's his choice. Draymond's locked up for this season and next season, so he doesn't have to get entertained until then. Boogie Cousins is on.
Well, he'll have to be entertained when it comes to trade rumors. Because if Kevin Durant makes it a condition that in order for him to resign, Draymond's going to have to be moved, the Golden State Warriors, they will be entertaining offers for Draymond Green.
On the squad, knowing that he's
Question real quick.
Let me finish.
Question real quick.
Sure.
Do you think if they keep Draymond, KD stays?
Do I think if they keep Draymond?
Yeah, KD stays.
Do you think it's their last season playing together?
I think it's their last season playing together. I personally, but remember what I said to you. I believed that to be the case before the dust up.
Okay, but what I'm saying is this.
Saying,
musical chairs, the drama is when the music is playing. That's this season. When the music stops, that's the climax of the action, right? Mm-hmm. But that's this off season. But the drama is right now. The music is playing, and we all know, and they're playing knowing that one of them is not going to be there.
But what I'm saying to you is that if that were the case, Max, then you could have made that statement when the season began. I'm simply saying the dust up is not where the drama comes from.
I don't think you could.
Right, but that might be the last nail in the coffin, Stephen A. Smith. I understand what you're trying to say, brother. You're saying that Kevin Durant has already made his decision, basically. But I think that what Max Kellerman is getting at is that no matter what Kevin Durant has decided, what Draymond Green decided to do himself may have totally recalibrated everything. You know, sometimes people can cause so much chaos with the intent of shaking up others that they end up being the one who gets shaken up the most. Many of you brothers might understand this. You know, sometimes you might be dealing with a female who was accustomed to utilizing certain tactics to get her way or to cause a paradigm shift in the relationship to initiate that breakup, makeup portion of the relationship where you're fighting as much as you're fucking. And that might lead to her demise. It might lead to your demise, depending on how intelligent you are and how perceptive you are. I say all that to say this. Draymond Green did what he did in an attempt to upset Kevin Durant. And it may end up that he's going to be the one that will be uprooted from his current station in Golden State. We'll find out.
You could make that statement when the season started.
Why not?
Because it was not known, at least to me, the level of the drama between KD and Draymond.
Yeah, but
I think the team now understands. If we want to keep KD, we got to get rid of Draymond.
But your notion is based on the premise that you can't keep everybody, and I'm saying to you that...
No, actually, I think that his notion is based on the understanding that Draymond Green has elevated and escalated the level of antipathy and negative energy within the locker room to such astronomical proportions that he has now made himself a component in the conditions of whether or not Kevin Durant comes back or not. So to put it in simpler terms, Kevin Durant may have said to himself, there's a 55 or 60% chance I'm going to the Lakers or I'm going somewhere else or what have you, no matter what. And now in the aftermath of this situation with Draymond Green, now it's I'm 80% gone, and the only way that I will even consider coming back to Golden State is if they trade this dude. That is what Max Kellerman is saying, Stephen A. Smith.
That was never the intent.
Right, but now it's become clear that you're going to have to move Draymond if you hope to keep KD.
Absolutely.
It wasn't clear before the season started.
Absolutely.
I don't think Draymond determines the future of KD in Golden State. I think
you're wrong about that, brother.
I think KD had that determined before this season began. Whatever decision KD ends up making, I think KD made that decision before this season even began.
Okay, that may be true.
Right.
Well, and maybe that's really why Draymond's reacting the way.
Well,
like,
no.
Of course, I said in another video, Draymond Green is sensitive, but he's also smart like a fox. His problem is that everything that comes to his mind, he thinks it's okay for him to utter. But that's part of the woke generation of so-called young black men on the internet. They think that however they feel, they should just say it. And everybody should just be perceptive or receptive to that, I should say. And it's okay. No, it's not okay. Your words have power, man. Scriptures tell you that, the power of the tongue, the words that come out of your mouth, they have the power of life or death. I tell you that in Proverbs 18:21. So Draymond has to understand that when he put those words out, there are certain things that once they're done, they cannot be undone.
The whole thing started
remember,
up.
that's what I reported. That's what I was told.
Right.
He had a problem with the fact
when
that
did you report that? Before the season started or during the season?
No. Remember, before the season began, I said, listen, we're hearing that KD might decide to leave Golden State after he wins his three-peat. And then I came back after the dust-up and said, that's one of the reasons Draymond said something. Because they had a problem with him not re-upping.
So I'm not even talking about the drama.
So in other words, Draymond Green thought that he had such a psychological hold over Kevin Durant that it was his place to tell Kevin Durant how he should handle his business. All that is an inkling into a lot of the dynamic between Kevin Durant and Draymond Green that probably has alienated Kevin Durant from Draymond and from, and to a large degree from the rest of the locker room over the last 2+ years. Because I think that Kevin Durant started out thinking, this person, he's acting as a quote unquote older brother to me. He's hovering over me. He's trying to show me the ins and outs of the game. And now it's at the point where he realizes that Draymond Green thought that he had control over him like a puppet master. And I stated in a previous video, this is why Draymond is so upset, because he's like the bully who has to deal with the other boy, the smaller boy, finally standing up to him. It's traumatizing him. I'm talking about Draymond Green, that he's losing control over this asset.
As it relates to the players themselves, for us, the audience, that's who the drama is for, really, when you talk about this.
Someone's
the drama began, really, with that dust-up, because now we all know or believe that someone's going to have to leave.
Max and I look at it differently. His thinking is about the drama because KD may or may not leave.
Yeah.
My drama is, what I define as drama is, who you going to get? In other words, is KD going to be there next year? Is Anthony Davis going to be there next year? Is Kawhi going to decide to come there next year?
Hey, real quick.
Hey, I've noticed that Stephen A. Smith has been mentioning Kawhi Leonard the last couple of episodes. Now, in the last group of videos that I released on YouTube, I mentioned that I think that Kawhi Leonard might be an even better fill-in for that team than KD is in regards to what he brings to the table.
Before we go, and this is just right now, yes or no question. You think KD stays?
I don't think he stays. I think he wins 3.
I don't think he stays either.
I think he wins 3. And once he wins 3, he looks for something else. But then again, I'm going to leave it as an outside shot because I happen to know he loves their system. And who don't love playing with the Splash Brothers?
Yeah, of course. He's an incredible
Who don't love that?
All right, we got to leave it there.
But anyway, that's basically it on that. We'll see how things go with the Golden State Warriors. Once again, something has to give. I just don't see Kevin Durant re-signing with the Golden State Warriors and Draymond Green is still there. I think that Draymond pretty much has signed off on his own death knell on that team, particularly if Kevin Durant speaks to the front office of the Golden State Warriors and lets it be known to them that the only way that he's going to come back is if Draymond is gone. But anyway, peace.